That's right. Class is in session. This edition of Matrix University Live is officially live. You know how we do. We like to give it a minute to let some folks join us here in the classroom. But I am joined with our resident advisor and favorite repeat offender, Vesuvius MXO. Say hello to the people.
Greetings, Red Pills. Welcome. We got some news coming in bunches.
Yeah, no, when it rains, it pours. Matrix 4 news, they do not play. I mean, we get the drought, and then all of a sudden we are flooded. We've got more news to talk about. I see Matrix Spider-Man is here. Hello,
Hey,
Matrix
welcome.
Spider-Man. He's like definitely getting his gold star for being the first to say hello in the room today. I'm gonna go ahead and tweet this out. I always forget to notify everybody on Twitter that we're live in the Twitter Matrix. But yeah, I just sent the tweet out. And if you're just now joining us, please like the stream on your way in. Try to help other potential yellow pills find their way down to the bottom of the rabbit hole where we analyze everything Matrix, Matrix Trilogy, Matrix Comics, Matrix Online, Matrix 4. This is your one-stop shop for Matrix Universe Media. And this week we caught a barrage of news. So I already did a video about the Christina Ricci cast signing, and I do want to talk about that actually, but we'll jump back to that. Let's come back to that because the headline for the start of this week was that Jessica Henwick did another interview, and you know there are some videos on this channel already from previous interviews that she's had, but this is the latest one, the one that's fresh off the presses. And she did say a couple things in this interview that she hadn't said before. Now, we talked, a little pre-show, Vesuvius and I didn't, I wasn't able to track this to like a video of the interview or anything. It just seems to be, an excerpt from like a magazine interview she did. But I'll go ahead and see if I can share the screen here so you guys can see the article, and I will get everybody up to speed for anybody who hasn't heard this. Okay, here we go. So the title is Jessica Yu Lee Henwick on being part of the Matrix 4. And you scroll down here. The article says, when it comes to iconic sci-fi and fantasy series, Jessica Yu Lee Henwick has already covered so many major bases. She flew in X-Wing in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. She went to Westeros as Game of Thrones, Nymeria Sand. She entered the Marvel arena as Colleen Wing in Netflix interweaved Iron Fist, The Defenders, and Luke Cage. But next up, she's ticking another massive movie dream off the list, plugging into the Matrix for Lana Wachowski's mysterious fourth chapter. If her character remains unannounced and details on what the Matrix 4 even is are currently scarce, Henwick teases that she'll be very much involved in the series' signature slow-mo fight sequences. I haven't seen a cut of the film, so I don't know what's in it and what isn't, but I trained every day for months, she tells Empire in the British New Wave issue. There are a couple of cast members who didn't have any physical stuff, and they were so sad. How can you be in the Matrix and not get to do any of the good stuff? As for, as for her own wishes, most of those were granted in a film that paid off a lifelong dream. I grew up thinking Matrix was the coolest thing ever, she says. Bullet time, the multiple agents, the pills, and the rabbit. When I signed on, I said the three things I want are a leather jacket, sunglasses, and some wire work. I got 2 out of the 3. I'll leave you to guess which ones. All right, so that's the end of her quote. So V, what are your thoughts on the little bit of new tidbits she gave us here?
I'll think that the one thing that she did not get would be the leather.
Okay. You think she didn't get the leather? Right, because the sunglasses are kind of easy. Like almost everybody in the Matrix wears sunglasses, right?
Yeah. Now, somebody, and I'm kind of pulling this out of the back of my head, was talking about the trouble with filming sunglasses, that they constantly have to edit out the frames, for like the reflection and everything. But the sunglasses are such a mainstay in the Matrix universe. I think they're going to remain. I think that those will stay. but not everybody has leather. Trinity had like that. I don't know. It was almost like PVC or like a what's that material? Like the plasticky material. It was supposed to look like vinyl.
Pleather.
Um, Pleather, yeah, basically. And Neo had cloth, but maybe she's got something. I think that's just a little bit more interchangeable.
Now, in the picture with Arundira Ibarra and Brian J. Smith, Arundira has on leather. We don't know what role Jessica Henwick is playing. I'm gonna go wire work, right? Because in the original Matrix film, you had Wu Ping and all this wire work, but in the second and third, didn't they like just rely on CGI? There was like very little wire work in the sequels, correct?
I think there was a fair amount. They used the wire work in
In the
1, 2,
in
and
the
3.
Merovingian fight scene for sure with Tiger Chen and when they're at the
Yeah,
chateau.
and Neo had some pretty big jumps in the Burly Brawl, and I would think that they use the CGI in conjunction with the wire work.
All right, no,
Unless
that's
you
fair.
believe the meme where there's just people in green suits that are helping Neo do a back arch.
No, and that's the thing. She did say. I mean, a lot of actors and James McTeague even said, that there's a lot of practical shots. One of the earlier Jessica Henwick interviews that we did a video about on this channel. She talked about the practical shots. So, one would be led to believe that she's got a fair amount of wire work, but I don't know. I'm feeling like there's like some misdirection or something going on here. So I'm just gonna pick that one. It's anybody's guess. You can definitely leave your guess in the comment which one of the three Jessica Henwick did not get granted while she shot The Matrix 4. She said she wanted three things: a leather jacket, sunglasses, or some wire work. So you let us know which one you think she missed out on. There was something else about her quote here that I wanted to address, though. Let me just quickly scan. See, right. So what the article said is that she'll be very much involved in the signature slow-mo fight sequences, but she didn't directly say that. Obviously, because of her resume, I'm going to assume that she's kicking somebody's butt in this movie. But I didn't see where she specifically said she had a bullet time shot.
Yeah, so she was choosing her words to be vague, which is understandable. I mean, she's probably got to be vague at this point because there's nothing official. So it's just these little tidbits that we're getting.
Yeah, and these actors are scared to get in trouble by Warner. They are not leaking anything. Shout out to Radio Chaos. He's been a longtime subscriber, so appreciate you jumping on in the live and joining us here. I see we have a question here. Aria says Henwick is in The Matrix 4. That is correct. Jessica Henwick was cast for The Matrix 4 sometime last year. In fact, I believe that she did some San Francisco stuff. So I think she's going to have a major role in this film. I think we're going to see a lot of her on screen.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Kavion. Kavion's in a live chat. Kavion's all over Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, actually. So shout out to Kavion.
Yeah, shout out to Kavion Davis. I've definitely seen him moving around on Instagram for a very, very long time. And we always appreciate everybody who's part of the Matrix University community. It is growing. It is becoming a scholarly event as far as studying the Matrix goes. We go real deep here. And yeah, they didn't give us a whole lot to go on as far as this interview. But that's expected. Like I said, all the actors have pretty much been lockstep when it comes to not releasing any serious plot details. But yeah, I guess we could go ahead and move on to the next thing because
I was gonna say she's seasoned too. She's not gonna slip. Even the kid that's playing Spider-Man, he's got a reputation for slipping, but now they're perpetuating that expectation that he's going to slip to throw their teasers out. They're like, oh yeah, he's gonna slip, and then it's like, no, it's like totally something planned that they're trying to release. So these actors are getting better about staying tight-lipped, and the marketing is getting, more interactive.
Yeah, and that's the one of the, as far as Albert would put it, the hype train. This time we have such a social media presence that wasn't there, in 2003. The last time we were getting prepared for something like this. So it's definitely, these little articles, even though she didn't really say a whole lot. I mean, they catch a good wave. I mean, I saw all kinds of retweets and shares just about this little snippet here. But I do, even though like I said, there might be some misdirection in terms of, her talking about bullet time versus wire work. I do think the part that is probably going to play out is her having a lot of action scenes. And I'm basing that more on her previous resume. Same thing with Ellen Hallman, the jujitsu background and her 8711 background. I think that those two actresses are definitely going to have a lot of physical scenes, fight scenes, and things of that nature. It's just anybody's guess what roles these actresses are playing. And of course, as expected, she didn't really give us any real clues on that. But I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to add as far as reactions to the Jessica Yulee Henwick latest interview?
The only thing I think I'll add is that if you check out IMDb, she's usually in the top 3. So yeah, I do think that she's got a big role in this. I think she was one of the first, besides Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss, that were announced.
Yeah.
And which means she was probably there early on, especially with the months of training. That's a big investment. So she's probably got quite a substantial role. I think the early rumors were that Sarah Edmonton character that was kind of a flash in the pan in the Matrix Online, but I'll tell you, for such a short-lived character that we never actually met in the Matrix Online, it's like a very anticipated character because of the implications.
Well, and when you speak of the implications, I talked about that in the Jess Wick video, because in an earlier interview, she was having fun with that whole Jess Wick phrase. And, again, that could be a misdirection, but it could be maybe one of the only clues that we have to her character. We'll have to see how it plays out. But I think you're right. When they first announced actors, I believe it was, Keanu, Carrie-Anne, Neo Trinity. And then, like, there was like a pause, and then I think there was like just a bunch. Like, it was Jessica Henwick, Neil Patrick Harris, Jada Pinkett Smith returning, and somebody, Jonathan Groff, I think, you know what I mean, and Toby Onwumere.
Yeah,
like those 5 were like all announced like all at once. It was all the same week or something like that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that she was involved with the San Francisco shoot. I'm pretty sure that she's got significant screen time, and I'm excited for her. I really think, because right when I did those videos, because that was over a year ago at this point. When I did those videos, I probably had only seen her in Game of Thrones and maybe like one other show. So since then, I have seen The Defenders, and I've seen a few Iron Fists, but I did watch the crossover one, and I thought she was great. Like, the Iron Fist that I saw, like, I thought she was carrying the show. Like, I didn't really feel like the lead actor, like Iron Fist himself. If it wasn't for the Colleen Wing character, I would not have watched it at all. Like, he was not keeping my attention. But yeah, I thought she did a great job in that. Her role in Game of Thrones wasn't that, she didn't have that many lines. Again, it was more action. So I definitely think she's going to fit into the action-packed on-screen Matrix universe very well. But speaking of casting, that's the next bit of major news, and the video was already up. This news leaked out, I believe it was last Friday. But yeah, they said that Christina Ricci has joined the Matrix cast. Now, you brought up a good question. We were talking about that, pre-show. What I didn't talk about in the video, because they didn't talk about it in the article was very vague. What I'm not sure of, and what we don't really know, is, was she cast back when we were talking about? Was she cast last year? Or was she just now cast recently and she's going to go shoot in Berlin? Um, that part was very unclear and very vague. Uh, and I wouldn't rule it out that she was cast before and just was off the radar in Berlin, but already participated and that part is done. She's been kind of in the background career wise. She's been doing stuff, but behind the screen stuff. And wouldn't surprise me if she had a small enough cameo to be able to sneak in and sneak out and not really, have any pictures of her in Berlin or in San Francisco or anything like that. But on the flip side, a few live streams ago, we saw Carrie Ann Moss and Keanu Reeves in the CGI marker gear in Berlin not too long ago. And that definitely started reshoot rumors. So, if they are still shooting this thing in pieces, it is certainly possible that she's just now been added on recently. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts on how all that could have played out?
Well, I like the title for the article because it said that she was quietly added, um, which kind of implies that she might have been there for a longer period of time than recent. However, we see Carrie Ann and Keanu in those motion capture suits, and we're thinking hopefully video game or maybe reshoots and some action shots or green screen or something. She could have been a late ad. Maybe something happened, somebody dropped out. Maybe they're doing a post credit scene. I don't know. I mean, the speculation in my mind is it's running wild at this point. It's absolutely running wild. So
Yeah, I like that. I like that post credit scene. I didn't think of anything like that. That would be, a teaser for more to come for sure.
yeah. So for those who are asking for Morpheus, we might see Mr. Fishburne on a plane or tagged in a Instagram tweet or something in Germany because he a while back he said he didn't get a call. Well, maybe it's looking like this movie's going to be pretty darn good, and they're setting up a part 5. Totally wishful thinking on my part because I can't get enough of the Matrix universe, and of Morpheus is just such a cool character. Um, how can you not? It really is hard to even though we're in this for well over a year, it's hard to think about the Matrix without a Morpheus. Just his speech pattern.
Yeah, like you said, there's so many different ways this thing can go. Now we're talking about so let's say for this conversation, let's say for the sake of debate or argument here, let's say Christina Ricci hasn't shot anything yet. She was quietly added, but she was recently added. We still have to get her on camera. All of this, to me, is more circumstantial evidence of a potential delay. When when the when as soon as I saw the report again, and I put it in the video when I read it, it's a rumor, so who knows who the real source is? Who knows if it's true? But when they put out the HBO Max release trailer and Matrix 4 was last with the logo, the white background with the black text, and the rumor was that Lana Wachowski was adamantly against a HBO Max release. All this going on while Christopher Nolan was in the media at the forefront of kind of saying, hey, this is not cool to the directors and the production staff, et cetera, et cetera. The first thing that popped in my mind was, well, they can't show a movie that's not finished. If Lana Wachowski doesn't want an HBO Max release, she's got the power to stall. Like, that's always been, like, to me, if you're going to make a play as a director and say, I want a theatrical release, and all I have to do is wait until what we find out later is 2022, it'll go back to a 45-day theatrical release. You can make up any kind of post-production delay. You can say, hey, we need this scene to come out great. We got to do this again. Or, you know what? We rewrote this and took this out and we got to shoot this again. That's all I got to do. And here we are. Now, I don't know if Christina Ricci is shooting in the real world, or if she already shot with everybody else and it's a non-factor. But just the way that, like you said, that headline read, it's very unclear. I think it's vague on purpose. I don't think that they know. And I think that if any of that is possible, if your Lawrence Fishburne possibility is going to happen, each one of those things, if they weren't shooting a video game, every extra shoot is a delay in release date in my mind.
Yeah, good point. And I hope that she actually has the power to delay and not have any repercussions, because awesome director, creator of my favorite franchise. I would hate for her to stand up for what she wants, and then it's like, well, listen, we're not going to have you back, or breach of contract, and then there's all this BS that goes along with it. So I hope everything's cool with the contracts, and then she really has the power to be like, yeah, it's just not going to be done. We're going to have to push it back. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind like a 6 month or something, but if I hear 1 year delay, then I'm going to be like, oh, then I'll have a little frustration. But I'm enjoying the build up. I think we are enjoying the build up. This, with all the speculation and everything, it's quite fun. So personally, I wouldn't mind a pushback, but if I hear a year, then that'll hurt a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that long. Now, real quick, Radio Chaos asked, Morpheus always the philosopher. Did anyone ever say if he grew up with the Oracle and the other foster children? So I did a video on The Miller's Tale, that Matrix comic. That's the only young Morpheus glimpse that we get. There we see him in Zion. We don't see him with the Oracle. He is a child, though, so it is very possible that he was one of the Oracle's potentials first and then was able to, be red pilled out of the Matrix. But I don't have any reference to any, specific Matrix media that tells that story. But back to what we were talking about, Radio Chaos also asked if delays have costs. Yes, if they're doing extra shooting, any reshooting, anything like that, it would absolutely have a cost. But my point, and I would believe that Lana Wachowski's point, would be that if it has a HBO Max hybrid theatrical release, it's going to make less money at the box office. Whereas if you have a purely theatrical release, it's going to make more money. So at that point, if her only play to get around any of the studios balking about having this be an HBO Max release, like I said before, they can't show a film that's not finished. They can't show a film that's not done. Right?
Correct.
So at this point, she has the leverage. Until she turns in the final edit, she's got all the power. So it's hedging your bets, basically. It's basically saying, okay, I'm going to cost you more up front, but we're going to make more money on the back end because what you're talking about doing is stupid. That's just how I see her seeing it if we're talking straight numbers. And, like I said, Christopher Nolan as a director, said specifically, as an artist and the blood, sweat, and tears that the team puts into, create these projects, create these movies, a theatrical release is a big deal. And, there's a reason why it's part of the process. And again, it all comes down to numbers. Chase the money, track the money, follow the money. They make more money with a theatrical release than a streaming release. And, at the end of the day, they want to make their bottom line as well as creators. So I think they have, a legit argument there. And it's a tough situation. I get it. The pandemic makes everything difficult on a lot of us, but I don't think it would be delayed a whole year. Somebody did ask that. I don't know if this question here. If they move the release date, when would it be? No idea. I mean, they could move it 1 month and that would take it out of the HBO Max release date window. However, strategically, I would imagine it would be bumped from the Christmas window to the spring window, because spring is usually when a lot of blockbusters come out. I mean, obviously Christmas week is another window where blockbusters come out. But originally, because a lot of people don't remember this because it got flooded by the whole National Keanu Reeves Day, which was never really a thing. The whole John Wick and Matrix 4 supposedly being released on the same date. which was never going to happen because at that point, John Wick 4 hadn't even been written yet. Like they were not scheduled to come out on the same day, but that news flooded the original news. And in the original news, I believe the date projected, which was tentative and likely to change, it did. But I believe the original date said spring of 2022. So right now we're looking at Christmas of 2021. So if you're going to ask me, I would imagine any delay would bump it to the original projection of spring of 2022.
Yeah, so I would like to look at the 2022 movies and their releases because, it would be probably unwise to go up against like a Doctor Strange 2 or something like that, for opening weekend. But I think that they would stagger it and then we might be able to pinpoint. But, and, I'm sure they have their alternate dates in mind and any criteria that is going to warrant that uh, change in release date. So it could be, just kind of staggered in that spring release, and it'll probably wasn't it April Fool's Day at some point too, or was that this past month?
Right. That would have been this past April for the April Fool's Day date that it got pushed off of.
So it was what, like May 21st or something?
That was the one. Right. That was the supposed National Keanu Reeves Day one. Yeah, the May 21st was supposed to be the one where it was John Wick 4 and Matrix 4. And then it got changed to the April 1st. And then it got changed to December 22nd.
Well, I am scrolling Christina Ricci's Instagram right now, and she doesn't post very often. She'll post every like once a month, and then there'll be like two posts back to back. Nothing. She doesn't say her location or anything, so it's hard to
I was just gonna
tell.
say that's the giveaway is if they do from Berlin or whatever, Germany.
Well, yeah. So I'm back in February of 2020 when they were filming in San Francisco. So nothing about being in San Francisco in February of March last year.
Real quick, I just want to shout out to Franz. Franz asks, "Am I late?" No. Well, okay. I guess technically, if you want to ask if you're late to class, sure. But as you know, all these live streams we end up just putting on the channel. So anything you missed, you can go back and listen and watch the whole thing at your leisure. And if there's anybody just joining us, please make sure you like the stream, help other potential yellow pills find their way down to the bottom of the rabbit hole. What we have here, Matrix Spider-Man says machines need more power in the Matrix. Well, yeah, last we saw in the Matrix Online, they were actually losing blue pills, so their numbers were way down. So we'll see if they address any of that kind of stuff in the Matrix 4. So yeah, actually, so Devonta Brown, I was just talking about that. Right. So there's a video on this channel. It is an interview from Chad Stahelski. Okay, and I watched him in the actual full video Zoom interview, not just reading the headlines. And he specifically said, yes, it was reported on the internet that they were going to share the same date, May 21st. But like I said, at that point, the John Wick 4 script hadn't even been written yet. They were not, from the studio's perspective, scheduled to release on the same date. What I'm saying is at the point that that story was released, John Wick 4 didn't have a release date. It was what he called a FUBAR, which is short for effed up beyond all recognition. But the point being, that was just somebody screwed up behind the scenes and their internet ran with it and has yet to retract it, even though the writer director has said it was never a thing. Like I said, prior to that story, the IMDb date and the original tentative date was spring 2022 with no, calendar date attached to that. And that was before the whole May 21st thing. But yes, the original, okay, we're going to give you a calendar date for Matrix 4 was May 21st. And like I said, since then it's changed twice. So I would not be surprised if it changes again.
The good news is that's the first and last time there's ever been misinformation on the internet.
Oh, I'm sure when it comes to the Matrix, there's going to be plenty more where that came from. Franz also says he's calling it Christina Ricci is a villain. So, right, we talked about Jessica Henwick. Who do you think Christina Ricci is going to be playing, V?
Oh man, it's getting harder. It's getting harder to make some predictions and actually have some confidence behind them. So I'm going to just guessing that she's playing every known character in the Matrix universe. That way, if she does play a character that's recurring, then I'm right no matter what. But also some funny things, with her coming. I think her most popular role has got to be Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. So my most recent kind of funny guess is that she's playing the Black Cat. I think she's really a versatile actress. I feel like I'm kind of saying the same things about a lot of the cast here in my speculation, is that they could play anybody. She could play somebody sweet. She could play somebody serious. She could play somebody troubled. I don't know. I'll go out on a limb and say Vale.
Okay. I like Vale. I mean, she's like you said, she could play anybody. I said that in the video, about this announcement. And in fairness, like I'm biased. Like I've always liked her as an actress. But yeah, I think her playing a villain is certainly in the realm of possibility. In fact, the first thing that popped in my head was the Merovingian's new wife. Like I could, she could pull that off without too much effort, and that wouldn't be a major role or anything like that. Right, and here David says they brought Ricci in because they are reshooting to fix the plot. Some Warner Brothers managers were not happy with the original plot. That's definitely a possibility. I could definitely see there being another kind of power struggle about this film, much like they had to deal with the sequels before, and that might have been one of the reasons. I've always suspected that that's one of the major reasons that Lily Wachowski is not involved in this project. I think that factor right there is exactly what she did not want to deal with. So that's what you said is definitely possible. But again, we don't have any proof that they are doing reshoots. This is all speculation based on some German photographs. So who knows?
Well, who do you think that she'll play?
Well, like I said, the first thing that popped in my head was the Merovingian's new wife or new girl. But after that, I was thinking because was it in the Discord somebody said something about Neil's daughter or something, but I don't think it's gonna play like that. In the picture that was used in the article and then I used in my thumbnail for that video, I mean, she could definitely pull off a Pace. She could certainly pull off an Agent Pace.
Yeah, absolutely. She's kind of got, she's got these features. She's got like these very sharp features, facial features. Her cheekbones, her nose. My goodness, her eyes. Like, don't cover those things with sunglasses.
Yeah, that'd
But
be disappointing if Christina Ricci has sunglasses on in the Matrix and Jessica Henwick does not. That would just be like levels of wrong.
so yeah, she could. My goodness, just to think outside the box. Maybe a character like Locke, where she's the head of the Zion army. You know, because they do tend to put the women in positions of power. The head of the council was a woman. I can't remember her name, the character name, but there's lots of. I mean, I think our cast is just about 50-50 men and women.
Yeah, we'd have to do a head count, but Kavion Davis said maybe she played Neo's little sister. Now, what I like about that is, for anybody who watched the Steve Scroce interview, the first one, the one that's the one with the Wolverine thumbnail, he mentioned that in the first version of the script that he read, I believe he said, yeah, he didn't say what year it was, but he said it was the first version of the script he read. Like Neo had like a little brother and a family, so there is some, I guess, anecdotal evidence that in the Wachowski's mind, Neo had a family inside the Matrix. So I mean, there is a little bit of legs to that being possible.
Yeah, and there wasn't anything in the movie, or I don't think anything in the script that said that he was a single child, or anything like that. It was just like, oh no, it's just Neo, and he feels alone, and he's alone.
Right. I mean, and basically what he said was that they just that his family got edited out in as they kept rewriting and redrafting the script to make it fit to the point that was brought here to sell it to the studio fully. And as we talked about many times on this channel, the original Matrix is very classic in its delivery as a big budget film. So sometimes you got to cut stuff out. But yeah, as far as Neo, well, we know that on his trailer, it had Thomas Anderson, and Trinity had her blue pill name, so we know that they're going to have some blue pill reference in this film. So that's definitely an interesting possibility for her role. I like that. Hello, Beverly. Shout out to Beverly. We see you in the live stream. You did catch it. You have caught a live session here. Okay, so this question says, what if there was another city that decides Zion is the red... Wait, I messed that up. What if there was another city besides Zion is that the red pills know nothing about? Okay, I think we talked about this a little bit in the last live stream, just the potential of there being other cities.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in the Matrix Online. I won't go into any spoilers, just in case they pull from that, which who knows. But there is another city. Zion doesn't know about it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we talked about how the leaked hovercraft plaque, the Nemesine, says it was built in the UK, and there are examples in the Matrix universe beyond taking place in a Japanese city inside the Matrix, and then you have There Are No Flowers in the Real World, where the operative is stuck in the real world outside in Japan somewhere. They don't specify, if he's outside Tokyo, but they just said his ship is somewhere, stranded in Japan. So they do make reference to other areas, both inside and outside the Matrix. Okay, so Beverly says here, I find it interesting of a gender switch. I heard a bit of this early on. So that's between the original role of Switch and this thing that we're talking about Neo having a family in the original version of the script. That's my problem with the 1990s, the quote unquote 1996 version of the script that's on the internet. It doesn't make reference to either one of those things. And we have, people who worked on the project. In the case of Switch, Lily Wachowski. In the case of Neo's brother, Steve Scrose, who storyboarded the whole movie. Now, those people were a part of the project. So I'm going to take them at their word when they say that those were parts of the quote unquote original script. So when you have a 1996 version floating around that doesn't make mention to either one of those, it's possible that that was the first draft or one of the earlier drafts after both of those things were cut out. But I feel like Scrose said he got brought into the project 96, 97. So it's just so close. I don't know, man. I really have my suspicions about that.
Besides, I think I've talked about this before. If something is in the script but it's not distinct on screen, I mean, come on, it went by the wayside, in my opinion. It's got to be on screen.
And T Mello says Ricci would be a great addition. I think V and I would unanimously agree with that sentiment. Do you think Matrix 4 could be using drones for filming? So the easy answer to this question is yes. Do I have proof? No. But in some of the leaked footage of San Francisco shots, some of the people who were posting to the internet were using drones to post. So in some of those shots, I might have seen someone else's, just a regular person's drone, but some of those or one of those drones might have been part of the production. So I definitely saw other drones in some of the public drone shots, if that makes any sense. In the helicopter scene or the helicopter leaked footage, one of the helicopters clearly has a camera in the front of it. So there's that. I don't know if you would, I guess you wouldn't consider that a drone, but basically there will be some aerial footage for sure based on the helicopter camera. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there's going to be some drone footage as well. What's up, Jay Lines? We see you. Thank you for joining us in this live stream. And if anybody who just joined us, make sure you like the stream, please. Help other potential Matrix University Yellow Pillars find us down here at the bottom of the rabbit hole, where we discuss all Matrix University media. Radio Chaos says Switch and that's supposed to be APOC. Switch and APOC died when Cypher pulled their cables out. Yeah, APOC, dang, autocorrect. Yeah, that's a wild autocorrect too. But yeah, it's so frustrating sometimes. Do you know if Matrix 4 will also be available in 3D? I don't know if they're shooting it for 3D. That's actually something that I haven't seen advertised. Have you seen anything about that, V?
I have not. I don't have much there for that. I've seen a couple of the shots of the cameras that they're using, but that's not my area of expertise.
But honestly, like the last few, I feel like they've been taking so many shortcuts with 3D, or like you know what I mean? Like there's movies where I'm like, oh, this should look great in 3D, and then I see it in 3D, and I'm like, that's it. Those are the only 3D shots. Like I got 4 3D shots in a 2-hour movie. Like I don't know.
Well, I think as I get older, I'm developing some vertigo. So if they don't have 3D, or if I could opt for a 2D, I would probably just do that.
Trying to make sure that I got to everybody's comments here. But yeah, I think we pretty much covered those two topics pretty well. Again, if you missed anything, you can always go back and check out the entire live stream. It will be in the live stream playlist here on this channel. Okay, this comment says Matrix in hold on, I got the wrong one. It says Matrix in IMAX. That would be awesome. Totally agreed. IMAX screens are awesome. So what's the bigger comment here? It says the whole Matrix franchise only happened in an isolated fraction of the greater control the AI has over mankind since the blackening of the sky. The city was just a fraction of the billions hooked up. And yeah, we talked about that a little bit before. I mean, okay, so what's the number? What's the head count in the Matrix Online as far as blue pills being hooked up? 300 million.
So for this cluster of pods, it was 300 million.
Right. So that was 300 millions for the cluster of pods that was supposed to be the world, or that the Matrix Online was connected to, right? But like we were saying earlier, there are references in the Matrix universe that reference other cities in both the Matrix and the real world. So, I am hoping that, the Matrix 4 will give us a little, I don't want to say clarity, but address it, either refer to it as Mega City or refer to it as a different city in a similar way that plaque says, built in the EU versus built in the USA. Yeah, Gerard says haven't seen any movies advertised in 3D lately. So yeah, that's another thing too. With everything that's been going on, it wouldn't surprise me if that part of the post production fell to the wayside a little bit there. The odd one asks a question that I'm asking myself all the years is: could it be that the Matrix sequels had studio interference since they feel so different to the first one? They absolutely did. I believe it's the Bill Pope spills tea video. The thumbnail has Bill Pope and a red table and evil Kermit. He specifically talked about his experience with the differences between the first film and the sequels. And honestly, any critique that I had about the sequels in that interview, he answered my question as to why that happened. So everything you're talking about, I think Bill Pope was very honest about. I believed his version of the story. And yes, there was some studio interference. I mean, technically, Lily Wachowski verified that there was even studio interference with the first one. I just think that there was way less. I think that the switch thing, and there was like maybe one or two other things in the first film that they had to battle and kind of yield to the studio. But I think in the second and third, there was just they said the first one was a hit, so nobody was bothering them in the production of the first one. In the second and third one, Bill Pope said there were studio people everywhere, literally everywhere, places that they didn't even necessarily need to be on set. So, it was definitely an issue. And, that kind of came up in this conversation tonight. Someone mentioned potential studio interference, and that's why that there might be reshoots for the Matrix 4. And I just wonder, I kind of felt that reading Lily Wachowski's interviews, that might be why she didn't want to be bothered with Matrix 4. She didn't want to deal with battling with the studio. So we'll have to see, is this going to be a production where Lana Wachowski had to battle the studio again? Was she able to stand up for the things that she wanted? I also think that there is going to be a lot more acceptance and inclusion this time around. I don't think that Twitch thing would be a problem this time around. I don't know that Lana Wachowski is necessarily going to go there just because that story has already been put out there into the ether. But there's no way for us to know from the outside looking in, as secretive as everything is, how much studio interference we could be dealing with right now. But that might be one of the silver linings of the whole situation that happened, because ideally or theoretically, anyone who shouldn't have been on set really shouldn't have been there this time around. With all the protocols and safety measures that were taken, if you weren't an actor or on the production staff, you probably shouldn't have been on set at Studio Babelsberg. So and that could back up the point that one of the commenters made today. I mean, they might have made a film with no studio interference, and now the studio's looking at the edits like, hey, we got to change this, we've got to change that. It's all possible.
So, is there any historical examples where studio interference makes a better product?
You know, I've been doing some, I guess, research for my project, right? And I have heard people. It's usually not the director, or rather, it's usually not the director or the writer saying this, but sometimes it is. You know, when you get to a certain level, you hope that, and this is where I get excited for the Matrix 4, because you know, you hope that you're collaborating with so many experienced professionals that even though you might not see something a certain way, the final product comes together the right way. Um, so that said, like I said, there have been situations, like I said, where I've heard people talking about projects and saying, okay, I wrote it a certain way or I saw it a certain way, and it came out better than I ever imagined because they had a great collaborative team and they trusted that the process would, you know, work itself out in the end. And in those specific cases, it did. But then you've got situations like the Wachowskis and Assassins, and they hated the final version. They said it was nothing like their script. So, you know, I feel like it can go either way. You know, it's one of those. It's just one of those things where, you know, at the end of the day, um, you're gonna either love it or hate it. You know.
So, do we want to talk about the international release dates, or do we want to save that?
I mean, you can bring it up. I didn't notice anything different. Did you notice something different from when they released those dates before? I mean, I definitely saw that Japan was earlier than us when they talked about it before. I didn't see anything new.
There's let me see. Okay, so Love Lana Wachowski over on Instagram. Big shout out, because Love Lana is always feeding great nuggets about what's going on in the Matrix and pop culture. So let me get back to that, and I'll hint it before I talk about it.
Now, is that shot on her Instagram page?
Yeah, that's that DM that
No, I'll
I
try
think
to.
I
I'll try
believe
to
you were
find
privy
the.
to.
No, I'll try to find the image so that we can share it on the screen so that the live streamers can watch it with us here. Give me a second.
So, Love Lana posted it, and that's where I saw it. It was originally posted on Instagram by Keanu.planet. So it is public. Let me check and make sure it's public before I blow everything up. Okay, so yeah, it is public. Keanu.planet originally posted it
Yeah, I got it up on the screen
yes
here.
yesterday. Okay, we got it on screen. Okay, so we got France, Australia, December 15th, 16th, 17th. Then we got the 22nd in Canada, Germany, UK. Um, hold on. No,
Right. So,
good
oh
thing that I
wait,
wanted to post wasn't in that one.
yeah, the Japanese date isn't even on this list. I didn't even notice that.
Okay, Love Lana posted something shortly after. Um, all of the countries that it's going to be released in. Okay, and this is looks to be a screen grab off of imdb.com. So the Matrix 4 2021 release info, IMDb, and under Spain, there's a nugget. It's not release dates, but it's a list of all of the countries it's going to release in. So it's got like the working title, the Matrix 4, and then USA working title, Project Ice Cream. But Spain has something a little bit different. You want me to fire it over to you?
Sure. Yeah. Now, if you can send it to me.
Sure. I'll screen grab here. So if I break up a little bit, that's probably why. But I'll throw it over to you on Discord. All right, I sent it to you. So it's under Spain.
So wait, what on where are you getting that? Like what IMDb page is that? Hold on. If I just go to Matrix 4, like what tab is that?
I don't know. I took a picture of what Love Lana sent. If you're watching, I think this is a pretty cool nugget. So hang out while we get it up on screen, because it's a question that I've had for a very long time, despite the leaks.
It's not the box office tab. Let me see here. Okay, international release dates. Haha, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, let me get this on the screen here. Let me kill that. Can you guys see here? I'm going to try to highlight it. In Spain, it is listed under Matrix Resurrections. S plural, Resurrections. Now, I do want to add this little disclaimer, because as you guys should know, the Matrix Resurrections story, this channel was a part of leaking that here, right? But you know, IMDb, as far as their information before a movie is released, is always subject to change. Like, it is not necessarily the most credible before the movie comes out. Once the movie comes out, somebody goes in and cleans everything up. But I don't want to say that it's the be all end all just because it's on IMDb. But I think that this is a good catch from you, V. I didn't even notice that, but it says in the United States, Project Ice Cream, The Matrix 4, Spain, Matrix Resurrections. So that's, further evidence that that's going to be the title. I mean, we got a lot of circumstantial evidence in that regard for sure.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire. It showed up on 2 pieces of clothing so far. We've got the website, and now we've got this. And I feel like there might be one other thing, but hey, start hashtagging Matrix Resurrections. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, you guys, if you haven't seen them already, you can definitely check out the Resurrection Code sneakers that I designed. They've got the green code in a little preview, like a little architect window on the tongue, and there's a little surprise for all my yellow pillars inside. But yeah, the easiest way to go is just go to neomatrixology.com, and there's a link directly to it there. Are you working on anything specific right now, V?
Working on my Ability Treat poster and a couple of Apple Watch live wallpapers. So
yeah, I've seen your graphics for the wallpapers. They look really cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the ones where the code rains down, and then it's got the title Matrix Resurrections with the release date. And I haven't seen too much about the rainbow code, but I've got a really nice rainbow code one. So if you're into that, it's available. It's on my Etsy, and I'm very happy with how they turned out.
Oh, real quick here, the odd one says, I also hope that Lana's vision isn't compromised due to the pandemic. So, when James McTeague was talking about just how they shot things with everything being digital, I would hope not as well, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think that it's actually going to be more like bound, in the sense that there's a lot of one takes, and like he said they didn't really rehearse, that they just would change things on the fly. So I think it's going to have a very fluid feel, if you will, which Bill Pope was a cinematographer for Bound and the original Matrix, and he said that in that way they were similar. Again, the sequels did not have that experience, but I'm hopeful that the Matrix 4 will share that flavor of energy. And then we have here, this question is, what is a yellow pill? The yellow pill is the source code pill. There is, I think, the second video on this channel is the full explanation of what the yellow pill is. So if you're looking for that, and also somebody asked about there's also the Matrix case study video. So somebody asked about that. So if you're looking for that, that's one of the earlier videos too. I already addressed all that stuff there. Shout out to Jay Scotty. I see you. He says, I wonder if Christina Ricci filmed her scenes last year or this month. Right. And we talked about that earlier. There's no way to know. The way they worded it was so incredibly vague. Either is definitely possible. I spoke to the point that I think if they're just now shooting it, we might be seeing another release date delay. But if I had to guess, she just snuck in and out of Berlin and wasn't part of the San Francisco shooting. But your guess is good as mine. They didn't really give us a direct answer or final answer on that. V did a little sleuth work to see if he could see any locations on her social media, and we got nothing. So we will have to see. That is correct. The yellow pill is a reference to the golden light that guides the path of the one. Will The Matrix 4 be the first major movie to be released that was filmed under the protocols? I don't think so, because they're doing theatrical releases now in some cases. So there's that. But then there's also, like I said, if it gets delayed, it'll probably get pushed to spring. So you'll have some months there where, the whole HBO Max thing isn't a thing anymore. But I'm trying to remember what was it? It was like A Quiet Place or something. What just came out?
Quiet Place 2 came out, I think, this past weekend.
Right. So I heard that it was doing good numbers, because that was one of the reasons why I believe the AMC stock did well, was because people were looking around and saying, hey, look, movie theaters are making a comeback. People are putting butts in chairs and buying tickets again. Okay. Oh, by the way, is the Thelma Hopkins cast news legit, or is it fake news? I what was the source? Comicbooknews.com, one of those guys. I don't know, bro. Like, when they say stuff, I need a corroborating source. I don't, like, if they're the only ones talking about something, I don't run with it. Their track record by itself ain't real strong. If it's legit, usually someone legit is also reporting it at the same time, whether it be a Screen Rant or a Variety or Collider or someone else, you know what I mean? So if it's just them, I'm gonna vote fake.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you mentioned the sources. When I think it was Saturday around 1 p.m. It was the Christina Ricci thing dropped. So immediately I went to Variety to check to see if they were the original source, but they hadn't released it yet. And it turned out it was Collider. So Collider got a follow out of me, and I think I'm a little late to that party, but trying to stay on top of all of these news nuggets. It's that's why I come to you, because you always track down the sources. And following Warner Brothers, I'm following lots of Warner Brothers accounts, and of course I'm not getting anything. So when they start releasing those official things, hopefully I get to them very soon.
Yeah, no, and I've got my rabbit ears, my antenna ears are up now, because news seems to, like we talked about, when it breaks in bunches. So here we are. So I've been checking just to see what else comes out, what other news leaks we get over the next couple. Devonta Brown says the first one to be filmed entirely in new protocols was M. Night Shyamalan's movie Old, so that will be the first. So that answers that question. Well, all right. Is there any other news nuggets or detective sleuth work that you've uncovered since our last conversation? And I try to get these live streams in as much as our schedules combined will allow. But you always do a great job of pulling things out that I didn't necessarily catch.
No, that thing from Love Lana over on Instagram with Matrix Resurrections under the Spain release, that's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm a little fixated on the title. I think that'll be the first thing that comes officially. Besides casting announcements, I think we'll get the title first. It's like they're withholding it. We actually leaked that, or I should say, you covered that leak in January, and here we are in June. So I feel like they're keeping it. I feel like that'll be the first thing that gets released official. It'll still be nice to just have that completely confirmed, but I think that's it. Resurrections.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the title will be like the first, like, okay, we're gonna cop to it finally, kind of deal. As far as everybody waiting for the trailer, especially with this Christina Ricci signing and us not knowing when her shooting took place or if it has even taken place yet. I would say don't hold your breath on the trailer. It's coming, but it might not be till fall, guys. I originally thought summer, early summer, perhaps. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if we've got to wait until like September or something. Oh no, there's some Warner Brothers release thing or something. There's some like Warner Brothers event. That might be like the one opportunity, the one summer window. I can't remember the date off the top of my head or the name of whatever this release is, but yeah, that might be an opportunity. It wasn't Comic-Con specifically. It was a Warner thing. I don't know. I gotta find it. Again, they didn't specify that there would be a Matrix 4 trailer related to it. I was just thinking from a PR, Warner Brothers controlling their own when we're releasing the trailer thing. Between that and Comic-Con, I feel like those are like your windows of opportunity. You know what I mean? To make a big splash. We're past the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like just looking for like benchmarks for that kind of news.
Yeah.
This comment says, I know the actor stuntman that plays Agent Johnson is coming back. That is correct. That is actor Daniel Bernhardt. And he is returning to play Agent Johnson, which is cool. We'll have to see, because we did mention on IMDb there is a stuntman listed for Agent Smith. So we'll have to see if he's actually infected with the Smith virus or not. Because there were agents in the Matrix Online who were infected by the Smith virus code.
Yeah, and wasn't Agent Johnson, was he assimilated during the Burley Brawl, or was that a different agent? Because they all look alike to me.
Yeah, Morpheus line, you all look alike to me. But no, okay. I don't think it could have been the Burley Brawl because Agent Johnson is, that's who's on the tractor trailer when they're getting the Keymaker. Right? But
yeah,
by the end of Revolutions, Smith has assimilated everyone. So at some point he got to him, unless he was hiding in the White Hallway somewhere.
Well, he could have gotten him from the White Hallways. He'd have to get him. He would have to hide with the Merovingian.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it played out for Agent Johnson in the trilogy, man. I think he got Smithed up.
So yeah, very likely he got assimilated off screen. And even if that was him, because I'm not sure, what were the agents in the sequels? It was Johnson, Jackson, Thompson, or something like that.
Something like that.
And then in the original, it was Smith, Stone, Brown.
Yeah. But Agent Gray is who we see glitching out in the Matrix Online. Right? Because Pace was created after the Smith fiasco.
Who's that?
I said Agent Gray is who we saw with the Smith glitch in the Matrix Online? Because Gray was created after the whole Smith fiasco, correct?
I don't know if that was specified. I had the impression that he was just kind of the next agent, like just the next one in line. Could have been an upgraded agent along with Johnson, Jackson, Thompson. That was just my impression. But Pace was created like well after that Revolution's ending.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So there were no Matrix Online examples of her having the Smith glitch, right?
No, she was.
Right.
She was like a blank slate. She was actually a prototype agent for this. Well, she wasn't the prototype. She was the version that was implemented, but there were prototypes of her, I guess, version of agent that were shut down but entered the storyline in like a side quest, which was, that was the cool thing about that video game is they delved deeper into cool things like this, and a movie's not going to be able to touch those things. So we do kind of have that extended universe to go to.
So the odd one says here, it's very strange that we got nothing official, not even a title. Remember, Uncharted got filmed at the same time, and we saw the first picture on January, I think. But yeah, Uncharted's not the Matrix now. I can't remember if it was whose interview, if it was Steve Scrooge or Bill Pope. It was one of those type of interviews from someone behind the scenes. But they made a great point that because when the first Matrix was made, nobody's paying attention. Like they had to bend over backwards just to get the studio to make it. But because it was such a success, they went all cloak and dagger and secretive about the plot for the sequels. And as many of you know, they shot them at the same time. So that made it, a little easier to keep the plot of Revolutions a secret. But I mean, these guys were doing this even before, the Sopranos were having, NDAs and non-disclosure agreements and making sure that, nothing leaked out about the plot, and, Game of Thrones and all that kind of took that cue from the Matrix. So, with this whole Project Ice Cream thing, I mean, that's been a big part of it. Like you see these actors when they get in interviews, like they're like, I'm almost like scared for them. Like they're really worried about leaking. Like they're not trying to have that legal problem. So, yeah.
There's that trend where they say, hey, so I'm under a non-disclosure agreement, so I'm definitely not going to say anything about the plot. And it's out there where they're just saying it up front. They're not even trying to be coy about it. And then it's like, but I can tell you that it was a good time and that the tone of this movie is very good and it's going to be enjoyable.
So this comment says, I don't think the Matrix 4 will need a lot of advanced promotion. Isn't the Matrix a cultural landmark, especially for film? So when the fourth comes out, word of mouth would do a good job, right? Question mark. So yeah, you have to remember the sequels came out, it was the internet age, but it certainly wasn't the boom of the social media age yet. No, I don't think that that Warner Brothers is going to have to go hard in promotions to get this thing to sell. What I will say is I felt like some of the bigger mistakes that were made in the past was not advertising for the other areas of Matrix media, like the comics or the Animatrix or the Matrix Online. But that said, yeah, I don't think that the films are going to need to, flood the market with commercials to get people to show up to the theaters. I mean, I see people post on Twitter all the time, like that they don't care about the situation, that they'll go to the movie theater just to see the Matrix 4, whether it puts their health at risk or not. Like people want to see this movie on a big screen. Like that's definitely a thing. Yeah, I don't know. It could be the summer. It says it's okay if the trailer comes out in the fall. It could be the summer, but if I was going to go off gut instinct, I don't think it's going to be sooner. I think it's going to be later rather than sooner as far as the trailer goes.
Well, I hope that when they do get rolling, that we have some kind of alt alter what alt reality marketing campaign. The one that I remember was the Dark Knight, where you could follow the election of Harvey Dent to the district attorney's office, and I didn't get very involved in that because I was kind of like, what the hell is this? But now, like, I know that that's a thing, and of course, the Matrix lends itself to that over the internet interaction and discovery of these plot points. So, boy, I hope they have something cool like that. You know, they had the very interactive website back in the day, which is offline now, and they just have like a commercial. It hasn't even been updated in like 4 years.
So, okay, real quick, this comment says the sequels weren't well received, unfortunately, so they still will have something to prove with the marketing. So when you say that, okay, when you talk about the marketing, because like I said, I thought it was a mistake to not have advertised for certain different Matrix Universe media, but when you look at the actual sales numbers, Reloaded and Revolutions both individually outsold the original. So from a critical standpoint or a critique, yes, the original Matrix has more consistent good reviews or was more widely accepted critically. But when you look at the numbers, the sequels actually did better than the original. Now, Revolutions didn't go like Reloaded was the peak. Revolutions didn't sell as much as Reloaded, but Revolutions did still outsell the original. So even though, I might say there's something I might not have liked about something in Revolutions, I personally still enjoyed it. But either way, at the end of the day, while you do have people who say, oh, I don't like the sequels, that's fine. The sequels still outsold the original. So they were still successful.
Yeah, does the studio care if it does very good business but has a poor Rotten Tomato score?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the bottom line. And that's kind of what I'm getting after. I don't think me personally, I'm not going to say just because a movie made a lot of money that makes it a good movie. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying that success is usually measured monetarily. So that the films were still successful. It's not like they bombed from a marketing standpoint. That's the point that I was making there. And someone did participate in that Dark Knight promotion you're talking about. It says, yes, the Dark Knight online promotion was so cool. I wish it was still around to be seen. Will
Yes,
there
it did.
be a? Wait, I'm sorry, you finished your thought, V?
I was gonna say, I wish that there was an archive for things like that, and you know, there might be something in text format on like a wiki, but you know, even the old Matrix website, you know, if you go on to like archive.org, you can kind of still interact with it. Like that was very cool. It made you feel like you were on a hovercraft or you were like discovering the Matrix for yourself, like Neo did.
Beverly asks, will there be a Matrix video gaming like Keanu Cyberpunk 2077? I thought there was. Keanu did some work earlier after done the Matrix filming. So we were talking about that earlier. The whole, him and Carrie Ann Moss being seen in Berlin with the CGI gear on, which could possibly suggest they were shooting a video game. But we don't know. And that's the thing. If this Christina Ricci thing means that she's going to go and shoot some stuff, because we do know Keanu is still in Berlin for John Wick. Although that is what I will say. The one thing I will say is John Wick shooting finally did start. That has happened. So yes, he's in Berlin, but he's shooting John Wick 4 right now. I doubt that he's bouncing from John Wick 4 to Matrix 4 shoots. I really don't think it's playing out like that schedule wise. So if Christina Ricci is shooting in Berlin and didn't already, she'd probably be doing so without Keanu Reeves. Now, to that point, Christina Ricci could have been in Berlin around the time that we saw Keanu Reeves and Carrie Ann Moss in the CGI marker gear, in which case that would suggest that was for Matrix 4 shooting and not a video game. But we don't know. I mean, I'd say the jury is definitely still out. My gut still kind of wants to lean video game when you're talking about the CGI suits, but this Christina Ricci thing is kind of a little curveball when it comes to that.
Now, Keanu, he's got the reputation of being like a good guy, and has like a bit of like a humble lifestyle. But he is very popular. Do you think he's the type of guy who's going to cash in and say, "Yeah, I'll do Matrix 4, but I've got this cyberpunk thing that I wrapped up, and I kind of want to springboard off of that, and everybody has wanted Neo in a video game. Let's do another one."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's a cool dude. And I mentioned in that CGI video that we did, Jada Pinkett Smith did the whole CGI suit for Enter the Matrix. So I mean, there's a history of this in this franchise. It's not like a completely left field idea. And the gaming landscape overall is different too. I mean, because they had success with consoles, I've always kind of expected them to, if we get another video game, it to be a console game this time, just because, like I said, the previous consoles had success. But where did I see something? Was it the Discord? I saw somebody say something about somebody saying that there was a plan, or oh, right. I can't, my bad. I got ahead here. I have a special surprise for those who have been keeping up with the Matrix comic series, where I kind of review each individual comic. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll tell you guys real quick. So I have, and the video's already been done, but I've been trying to post those on Sundays, and all the news we've been getting has been over the weekend, the past couple weekends. So the next video for that is going to be the last comic of series 1. So the way that the Matrix 20th anniversary edition is broken down is the series 1 print is all in order. So, when you open up the 20th anniversary edition of the Matrix comics, the first comic is, B166ER, bits and pieces of information, which is the first comic in series 1. All those are in order. As soon as you get to where series 2 starts, that's when they start throwing in like the first printed, or the first comic that had never been printed anywhere except for the 20th anniversary edition. So basically, like, when you get to the second edition in the 20th anniversary Matrix comic book, the hardcover, they go out of order at that point. So the next video is the last one in order. And then after that, because the 20th anniversary edition is going out of order, I decided to go out of order. And I got a little surprise for you guys. So I'm not going to ruin the surprise. It's really good. But yeah, that said, a little birdie told me that there has been a plan for another video game for a very, very long time. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now.
That's quite the tease, man.
Oh yeah, I gotta keep you tuned in.
We're in contact every couple days, and you haven't thrown this at me.
It popped in my head, and I'm like, "Where did I hear?" And I'm like, "Oh, right."
I like surprises, man. All in due time.
Yeah, this is a good one though. This is a good one too. That's the thing about it. Like,
well, don't tell me that. I'm gonna get all excited.
I gotta. What's that? Hype train you.
Good. Good, man. All right, I'm gonna subscribe to your channel.
Thank you for taking the yellow pill.
We got any more questions?
Yeah, no, he said the recent casting reports for John Wick make it seem like shooting hasn't started yet, but will this summer in France, Germany, and Japan. Right, they're in multiple locations, and I did read something that said shooting started in Germany. But in fairness, the source isn't in front of me right now, so because it's not Matrix related, it could be a not credible source. I don't think it was one of those comicbook.com ones though, so I could be wrong about that.
Well, yeah, he's in quite demand, Mr. Reeves, and he has said in the past that he has overworked and his performance suffered. And I think that was particularly the Bram Stoker's Dracula. So I hope he's getting his rest. for him to double dip and go back and forth from Matrix reshoots to John Wick, and possibly this video game, if it's any kind of motion capture or anything, that's got to be exhausting. So hopefully he gets his 8 hours every night and takes his ice baths, because those John Wick fight scenes are no joke. I mean, they are really well choreographed and rehearsed, and I mean, you've even if those floors are padded, and you're padding your forearms and everything else for blocks and throwing punches, you're still going to get bumps and bruises. And he's been doing this a long time.
Yeah, man. I mean, they even had to back off. I don't know if you saw, because I know I reported when they first reported that John Wick 4 and 5 were going to be shot back to back, just because it was supposed to be, back to back of Matrix 4. But since then, I saw a follow up article that like they backed off. Like I think it's what's that, Golden Gate or whoever makes the Matrix movies. I mean, sorry, the John Wick movies said I think they're delaying the the John Wick 5 production just to kind of like, let them get a little breather. This comment says, man, I love you, Lazarus and V. It's so awesome to hear what you guys say and what you guys notice. I feel less alone. You guys even noticed the Dark Knight promotion. I didn't know anyone who saw that. Well, that's all V on the Dark Knight promotion. I was in the dark, no pun. But no, you are not alone. And I definitely appreciate your kind words. We definitely appreciate you being here. We appreciate each and every one of you connecting with other Matrix fans here. And I really want to shout out the repeat offenders, the odd ones, the Jay Lyns, the Alan L's, the Beverly Coates, the Matrix Spider-Mans, the Franz, Hans, Gerards, the Devontae Browns, my repeat offenders. I mean, you guys really make this thing go. Boom Art Studios, like Jay Scotty. I mean, guys, I see you guys in the comments. I see you guys supporting each and every video. That like really drives me to keep going to, like I said in the last live stream, that whole Matrix comic series. I mean, that's a labor of love. Like there are times where I got to make time to do it. And it is something that I love to do because that was the goal, was what you guys are doing, being here, connecting with each other. And that's the fun. That's what I missed, between the Matrix Online shutting down and kind of coming back to the Matrix universe in the last couple of years. And so thank you guys. Thank you for being a part of that energy. Thank you for bringing me back to that and giving me a platform to share all of this information on, because that was another thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to have a place where Matrix fans could trust the information they were getting and not side eye and not have to look at it like, yo, I don't know about that one, bro. That's going to be a no for me, dog. I wanted it to be somewhere where you could trust and say, okay, I can come here and know that this is good Matrix universe intel.
Here. Love the channel. Look forward to waking up in the morning and see that you've uploaded something just a few hours before I woke up. And
you like those late night uploads?
then anticipating, when I can kind of dip out and watch and get caught up.
All right, we're closing up on the hour and a half mark. The time always flies when you're having fun here. Like, this topic, talking about Jessica Henwick's interview and our reactions to the Christina Ricci signing. We come in, I think I'm like, man, how are we going to talk about this for more than a half an hour at the most? And here we are a whole hour and a half later. And I just thank you guys. Thanks for, giving us stuff to talk to in the chat. Like I said, it's really fun being able to connect with you guys and share our Matrix fandom with one another. Like I said, is there anything that you wanted to plug while you got everybody here, V?
Follow me on Instagram, VesuviusMXO. We actually had a meetup in the Matrix Online emulator this past weekend, which was quite a bit of fun.
Right, the party. I missed the party.
Hey, real world's got to come first,
Yeah, no, well, I jumped in on Sunday. I jumped in for day 2. There weren't as many people. Everybody wants to party on Saturday. I get it. But We got
Well,
some cool agent footage.
we'll do it every month, and the first weekend of the month. I believe we'll go Friday, Saturday in July. And if anybody's interested in checking out the Matrix Online emulator, it's semi-functional. It's a very good-looking game. The functionality is limited, but it's on the up and up, and you can check that out at mxoemu.info, and I'll put that in the live chat.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. Like I said, please, if you haven't already, like the stream on your way out, just to help other potential Matrixologists find us here at Matrix University. I really appreciate all of you guys' support. The Resurrection Code sneakers are live. You can get any of the merch links or on the neomatrixology.com website, just so that you can have all the links in one location. But usually I also have them as the pinned comment in every video, so it's not hard to find if you're looking to support the channel that way. And for me, like I said in the last live stream, any comic artists or graphic artist who want to participate in Project Ladybug, hit me up and I can clue you in on the details of that. I'm at NeoMatrixology on Instagram and Twitter. I check my messages on there. I try to check in at least once a day. So yeah, that's how you can reach me. I'm trying to be accessible for that project, because I think it's got a lot of Matrix fans will appreciate the story there. But again, it was great talking to you, V. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your Matrix input with us.
Anytime. Enjoy it. Love it. We'll be back if you'll have me.
Oh, right. And I guess we got to tweet out. Did Albert's podcast that we did he put that up, right?
Yeah, it's on Spotify now. I'll throw a link to that, just because there's so many podcasts on Spotify that have the word Matrix in it
title,
that aren't actually Matrix related, and his is just simply titled The Matrix Podcast. So I'll put a link to that. Albert's such a cool dude. I love talking to that guy. I've talked to him twice. I love talking to him.
Yeah, no, we always have a great conversation over there. I'm sure it's not going to be our last, but yeah, if you put that link in, I'll tweet that out so everybody can kind of check us out and listen to what we were talking about there.
And he's got a YouTube channel as well, where if you want to watch it, because you got Calvin's collection.
That collection is massive.
I should throw a link to that too. Can I overload your audience, please?
Yeah, please do. I mean, that's the thing. I want this to be the hub where you can find everything worthy and Matrix related.
Yeah, this guy Calvin, I believe he's out of the UK. He's got a massive Matrix merchandise collection, and he's got a video. He said that he's got to update the video. The video is about 16 minutes long, and it just shows all the cool Matrix stuff that he's got, and he's got to update the thing. So I'll throw a link to that too.
Well, all right, everybody. I want to thank you guys all for coming out and checking us out again. Like V said, he's going to hook up all the links here in the chat. And again, you can follow both of us on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at NeoMatrixology. He is at VesuviusMXO. Yeah, well, I think this was a good session, guys. All right, class dismissed.